morning everybody, Car Micah here, and I've just set off heading down to Lincoln. I'm going to go and see Lincoln Bike Fest, and I thought while I'm on my way I might as well record a vlog or two. I'm going to record one about a news story that Mrs. C highlighted to me yesterday, and then this morning it came up in my Google feed, and as I had a look into it, it came up over and over and over again, so there seems to be some weight behind it. I've seen it reported on the websites of probably 7 or 8 newspapers, and it's a new type of camera. Now, I have a bit of a beef with cameras anyway, but that's for another video. I might record that one after this one. But a new type of camera, not for your helmet, not for taking snaps while you're on holiday or making movies or anything like that. Films is, I still think of films, not movies. But another one in the government's arsenal of extracting money from the motorist, or ensuring laws are upheld and everybody's safe, depending on your point of view. See what I did there? Actually, no, I can't be able to go that way. And this one is quite interesting and quite worrying, depending on what happens. Now, the government in this country is trialling now 7 cameras. I assume they're down south because everything's down south, so I should be alright for a little while yet. But it's a new roadside camera, and it takes a photograph of you as you go past if you're breaking the rules, and then you get a fine turn up on your doorstep. But this one's different. This one isn't looking if you're speeding, it isn't looking if you're drunk. They can't work that one out yet. It's a shame, because that one I'd be all for. And they can't work out if you're texting and not paying attention, and again, I'd be all for that one. This one's about noise. The story says these cameras, they measure the noise level as you go past. And if your vehicle, and they do mention cars a lot, but at the end of a couple of the stories, it is said that people are fed up of motorcyclists going through their village hundreds of times per year, which, you know, means that clearly it's targeted at motorcyclists as well, because I think it was a policeman that was saying it, a policeman or a counsellor or something. So as you go past, it measures. If you're above a certain volume, it takes a picture, sends you a fine. And they're talking about this being, well, variously 82 decibels I saw as one possibility, and a couple of times I've seen 90 decibels mentioned. Now I find that worrying. I find it worrying in various ways. Firstly, the level, because I understand, right, if you live in a nice little village and at midnight or early hours of the morning you've got boy racers flying past with loud exhausts keeping you awake, something needs doing about that, and I can completely sympathise. But if you're setting the limit level at, let's take the higher one, 90, well, every modern-ish bike has got a little plate on it with the frame number and engine number or whatever, and also the decibel rating at a certain distance, and presumably they would use the same distance. And the decibel rating on this bike, before obviously I changed the can, the decibel rating on this bike is 94, and that meets the European regulations. The exhaust I've put on is a little bit more than that. I think the I was distracted by that Mercedes driver overtaking 2 cyclists over there who were probably going to come straight past him again. Yep. And to give him a look as well. Yeah, with this exhaust on, which has got a CE mark and has got a baffle in it, and I've actually got the baffle in at the minute because I had the MOT yesterday and I've left the baffle in just to see if it makes any difference to the ride. So I was chatting about the guy about back pressure and whatnot that I'll lose by taking the baffle out. But according to the website, this adds 3 or 4 decibels, so this will be 97, 98 decibels now on a completely legal exhaust. If you go to the 82 that was mentioned in one of the articles, the Honda, which was whisper quiet, ridiculously quiet, and probably contributed to my accident, because I think if I'd have been on this one, there was a reasonable chance the person who drove into me would have heard me coming. The Honda was 87.1, and I know that because I measured it myself with a decibel meter. By the way, I haven't forgotten, I need to get that decibel meter out. Anybody who's interested in getting it, drop a comment below and say you're interested in getting it for the decibel challenge to continue. So all of that together means that potentially, if they go with what they're talking about, and this thing actually gets out across the country, it could essentially outlaw a lot of bikes that were put together to legal requirements within the last 3 or 4 years. The other thing, of course, is will the things actually work or not? I think they can only work if nobody knows where they are and they're not visible. Because I can turn this bike right down if I see a camera like this. There you go, quiet. Just pull the clutch in, roll past. It means I've got slightly less control of the bike, and of course it's a bit like speed cameras now, isn't it? Where apart from the average speed cameras, people get up to them, slam the brakes on and become more dangerous and less in control of the vehicle, but don't get caught because they pass the speed camera slowly and then accelerate hard and get back up to the ludicrous speed they were already doing. So it's early days, so there's only been a few articles and they've all basically said the same thing, but it seemed like a worrying development. Off we go again. Now, just to clarify, I know I'm guilty of having an exhaust that's too loud. I mentioned it on the MOT video, but I know that. And it's fair enough that people would be annoyed by that, and that's why generally I try and keep it quiet if I'm going out at times where I will be disturbing people. So if I'm going out early in the morning or I'm getting back late at night, I will crawl back in a high gear and keep the noise right down, and I've never had any complaints. And I know that this is probably aimed at those people who don't give a damn, but these laws tend to catch people who aren't the ones who are really causing the problem. So it is a bit of a concern. If it comes to it, I'll put my baffle in all the time. I don't care. I'd rather I was more noticeable, not for showing off, but so that people don't ram me off the bike. But if I have to put the baffle in, I have to put the baffle in. But I have to say, on the numbers they're talking about, the baffle is nowhere near enough. If it is 97, 98 decibels, the decibel scale is not a straight scale. So it is logarithmic, or the other one. Which does mean that, 100 is, I believe, double the volume of 90. So potentially I would be nearly double the volume that was legal. And indeed this bike with the stock cans on would probably be half as loud again as was legal. Very, very odd. Anyway, I'd be intrigued to know what everyone thinks in their comments. I suspect a lot of people will be against it, but I'd certainly be interested to know what everyone's feelings are on both sides of this one. Let me know in their comments. Thank you for watching, everyone. Ride safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon.